to finish with an exclamation. Instead of fly ball to left, it sends Schwarber back onto the track, at the wall. Pena's done it again. He's given the Astros a 2-1 lead in Game 5. On a 3-2 pitch to Nick Castellanos. Bouncing ball to short. Pena's there. Steps into the throw. Astros take Game 5. In a thriller. 3-2 the final score.
This is nothing but that sports talk. Yeah, the Astros are one win away from another World Series championship. As I welcome to this episode of Nothing But That Sports Talk, Rafique, Louison, Ryan Walker on hand. And, well, yeah, it's literally been a seesaw battle in the World Series. I mean, it's also with the Phillies when the Astros tied up. The Phillies shut out the Astros in Game 3, but they were a victim of another combined no-hitter in Game 4, and then they lost a one-run game in Game 5. So, thoughts?
Oh no, it's Astros just doing what they do best. You know, they're doing what they do best. Where they're going to close the series out at home. Phillies might wake up and get a little fight in Game 6 to make it go to Game 7. That'd be interesting. Guess it would be good for ratings and tickets. But yeah, Astros look like they just take it out. You know, whether it be 6 or 7 games, they just take care of what they got to take care of. Be good for Dusty Baker. That's the only person I'll really be happy for in regards to the Astros. But besides that, yeah, they looking like they're just taking care of their business.
Exactly, and this is about time that Dusty Baker gets a World Series ring, since he's kind of been a choke artist as a manager. I mean, I know he won one as a player for the Dodgers, but as a manager, he's kind of been a choke artist. I mean, think about it: the loss of last year's World Series, and then when he was a manager for the San Francisco Giants, he lost to the Anaheim Angels. So it's about time that he gets one.
Yeah, you know, he's and I wouldn't say you know, sometimes we magnify things so different. Not me and you per se, but we magnify things so I mean we're supposed to dissect things in sports really, you know, to every molecule, but the word to say he's a choke artist in the postseason is a bad word. He's not a choke artist. He's been on the bad end of some decisions without a doubt. You know, like you said, last year he went to the World Series, they lost. You know, now he's 1 game away. You know, but we'll see what happens. But you know, he's been in other situations when he has went to the World Series with the Giants with Barry Bonds. Like I said, so you know, we get it. You know what I mean? But he's always had teams that have done well in postseason and has gotten there, and he's got a good winning percentage in the postseason. On top of that, he's been in many games with teams where his teams have won in crucial situations. So I just think that he just hasn't won the big one. There's been that's like George Karl in basketball. You know, George Karl hasn't won an NBA championship as a coach, if I'm not mistaken, right?
Nope. Not even when he was coaching for the Denver Nuggets.
Right. But he's a really good coach. You understand that? He's a really good basketball mind. So for somebody to say, yo, I mean, just, you know, the same comparison. Oh, George Karl's a choke artist. You know, that's the Buffalo Bills 4 years in a row in the Super Bowl were choke artists. You know, that you could say. You know what I mean? Like the Knicks that year against Reggie Miller, that was a choke. You know what I'm saying? There's certain games you point at, man. Or you missed 2 free throws at the end. You know, Nick Anderson style. That's a choke artist move. You know what I'm saying? George Karl's a really good coach. He just hasn't won the NBA championship. Same thing with Dusty Baker. Dusty Baker's a great manager. I wouldn't go down if he had teams that he was going. If he had like a stretch run like with how the Yankees had, where they were winning like 100 games every year, and then going to the first round and losing disappointing all the time, or in close games, or a couple LCS and losing here, then I'd be like that guy just can't be, you know. But you know, it's like a Buck Showalter too. You know, Buck Showalter's a good baseball mind, a great coach. He's never won a World Series. You know what I mean? So, and this might be Dusty's time for, you know, for black people and people of our culture. It'd be nice to see him to win. That'd be the only person on the Houston Astros that I would even give a crap about. You know, I said that a few weeks too. I said if they win, the only thing that I would care about is that Dusty Baker would finally get a World Series. Everybody else, with that, they can kick rocks.
That's assuming that they can protect home field advantage, because let's not forget they had a chance to finish out the Nationals when they were up 3-2 and they choked that year too. But then again, that's a totally different roster. This is the Philadelphia Phillies, and the Phillies they had a pretty good World Series run. They did a lot better than we thought they were for an 87 win team. Even defeating the Atlanta Braves, a team that surpassed the New York Mets in the division. So it's like, not to we can't ignore the fact that they got Zach Wheeler and Noah Syndergaard. There was Syndergaard in their pitching lineup. So when you put that together, along with Kyle Schwarber or Bryce Harper, that's a World Series team. Forget the record.
Well, listen, the Phillies have lived up to their team motto in regards to the Phillies and stay fighting. They've been very resilient. And if it's any time in this season that they need to be resilient, basically the last 2 games of the baseball season are right now, which could possibly also be the last game. So they have to, regardless of whatever injuries or fatigue, they got to dig everything out in the tank. They have a great home crowd. They've lost only 1 home game, which was the other day to the Astros at home. But 2 home games at home. So they're going on the road. So pardon me. So that's the other thing that's going to be against them too. But they have 2 of their good pitchers at the end pitching, but they're really going to have to be resilient, and that's going to be the biggest thing. Not only do you have to win 1 game in Houston, but you have to win 2 games in Houston, and that they've been so resilient. So we don't want to say that they cannot do it, but that's going to be a really big uphill battle to beat this type of championship caliber mentality team, core team on the cusp of winning their championship in their home. Can they once again show how resilient they are? And when they do that, that'll be shocking the world. So, nobody says they can't do it. They've been so resilient all postseason, but it's just going to be really difficult to get 2 games in Houston.
Yeah, it really is. It's not like every other every baseball field. I mean, seriously, even though we see teams at home had 2 chances. Again, we've seen teams that had chances to finish the World Series off at home, but they choked at the end. The Astros done it in 2017. A year before that, 2019. 3 years before that was the Cleveland Indians. Right now, the Guardians, they choked the Chicago Cubs. They were up 3-1 that series. So we see the Texas Rangers. I mean, to be granted, the Busch Stadium was always been a tough place to play all those years. They see the Rangers choke to the St. Louis Cardinals. So we look back at history. I would, if I'm a Philadelphia Phillies fan, I would not give the Astros a ring just because we're down 3-2. Forget what field you're playing.
Listen, they gotta play. They gotta play and see what it is. Like I said, it's not impossible. It's insurmountable. It's just gonna be a tall task to do so because of the core of the team. But if anybody in this postseason is gonna do it, it's gonna be them. So they got the opportunity. They're off today, right?
They're off today because they have to go as a travel day.
Travel
to Houston.
So the World Series will end this weekend somehow, some way, and we'll see. It's going to be a tough task, but well, first things first, they got to get on the road, and those bats got to wake up. Those they if they're even if they're right.
You may not have to deal with Justin Verlander, who in 5 innings had 6 strikeouts and walked 4 batters, only gave up 1 run and on 4 hits. But it doesn't make it any easier.
So but see, goes the thing though. Even with that, Verlander, Javier Vasquez has really been the best pitcher for the Astros in the postseason. So Javier Vasquez is still on deck. The Astros are just not good. See, that's what makes the Astros so good, and with it sucks as a Yankee fan to lose to them, but when you're not hearing the conspiracy theory, hey, because it's so crazy. I have like I said, and I'm gonna be with him on Saturday, and he's gonna be talking out his mind because he wants the Astros to win because he's a Mets fan. So it's gonna make him sick to his stomach if the Phillies win because the Mets beat up on the Phillies in the regular season, and the Mets are home still watching in the
World Series while we went home against San Diego. So,
right. so it's eating him alive. It's one of those. That's that type of conversation the Mets uses as models to say, "Oh, the Phillies lost in the World Season. We beat them up all the time, so we're really you're not the champs. No, you're not.
Stop it.
Not even close." But it's so funny. And I said to him, I said, "It's so funny how you have so much disdain for everybody else's team except yours that you're rooting for the Astros to win." Like, all right, so look how he was doing.
I the hatred of the New York Yankees. I get it.
Right. When the Mets were playing the Padres, of course, he's gone on Mets. They're gonna win everything. The Padres beat the Mets, really kicked their butt, right? The Yankees just happened to still be alive. We earned the bye. Eventually, throughout the fruition of time, we beat the Cleveland Indians, so we were playing longer baseball than they were, right? So when the Mets lost, he was angry about the Atlanta Philly series, but he didn't want Atlanta to win again. Remember, and then Atlanta kicked their butt the weekend before to get the division. So he rooted against Atlanta, and he was happy when the Phillies beat Atlanta. And then he was rooting for the Phillies
to take out the Padres.
I guess because the Padres kicked their butt. And then when the Phillies eventually won, then he was like, "Oh, I want the Astros to win because he's a Yankee fan. He's a Yankee hater." So the Yankees had just came out, so now it's like, now this is the biggest part of his dream. If the Astros win, that's the best part of the season, even though the Mets didn't win, because now that's how it works out perfect for them mentally. This is a sick sociopathic Mets fans that I have to deal with. This is their mentality. I can think for them, and so now he wants the Astros to win because of that, so he can say. So I'm like, if the Phillies do win, then how crappy are you going to say that you are? But nevertheless, the Astros played the Mets 4 times this year. 2 times in Queens, 2 times in Houston. They swept them. They beat them 9-1 one game, 5-2. Another one was 8-2, and another one
nothing.
And 2-0. So you got shut out 2-0. You got crashed one time 9-1. You got crashed another time 8-2. And the only really close game, per se, not including the shutout, but you got shut out, keyword, was 5-2 game. So you got swept by the Astros as well too, and they kicked your butt. So this is why I laugh, because in essence, here goes the reality of it.
But that's regular season. We're talking postseason.
They kicked their butt. They played them. They kicked their butt.
Exactly. The Astros are fewer teams. We are not allowed to say that we're better than Houston Astros. That's all I can say.
But here goes the reality. Nobody really in baseball is allowed to say that they're better than the Houston Astros. Over the last 4 to 5 years.
Except Oakland, even though Oakland was bad, they swept the Houston Astros at one point in the season. Even though it don't mean
that doesn't matter. But that doesn't matter because even though I just talked about that sweep with the Mets, that doesn't matter with Oakland because Oakland was absolutely terrible and stink. They weren't never going to go nowhere. They were like last place in that division, and that happens in the season. The Yankees got swept to some teams they had no business getting swept to. None. They played the Pirates. They played the Pittsburgh Pirates last series. The Pittsburgh Pirates swept them.
I've seen the Pirates split with the Yankees twice.
Well, there was a team, maybe like Kansas City. In that month of August, there was like 1 or 2 teams.
It was 3-1.
Really bad.
My New York Mets got swept by the Chicago Cubs. We ain't no business getting swept by the Cubs in September.
This is what I'm telling you. During the season, there are going to be some series, even no matter how good you are, that you get beat by a team that you have no business getting beat by and getting swept by as well, too. So the Astros, I was talking, and I don't want to be rambling because I'm going to bring everything back to one point. I was speaking to this other guy at my other job,
and me and this other guy, we were talking sports, and he was like, "Oh, I don't want the Astros. We don't want the Astros to win because they're cheaters." I said, "Listen,
The Astros did have their time, but they had the whole cheating thing, the scandal, and I'm upset about it too. That was the year the Yankees were good. We played against them. We thought like we could win that year, and then
also remember there was the guy that was the manager of the Boston Red Sox who was on that team,
the Red Sox team, the next year as the manager, and he was caught up in the whole scandal too. And the Yankees played the Red Sox there too, and
they also got in trouble for that. But it is what it is, right? I said we got to now get past that whole cheating stuff, because here's the reality of it. The Astros were a good team the year before they started doing that whole cheating crap. They were good during the cheating crap, and they've been good, excluding when you didn't go to the postseason, but they were still competitive, but they were kind of like beating the team back. They've been pretty much good after the cheating scandal as well too.
Like that's like, it's not
that far gone, but that's so far gone that we just need to give that up, because
they're still kicking everybody's ass. Excuse my French, and including us, and they're still beating every. You don't win 100 games. If you play 162 and you win 100 and change, you're pretty good.
Without question.
Right? So they're beating everybody in baseball. It's not just us. The Yankees and the Astros only really play 7 times out the year, or 6, because of we're on the same American League, but Houston is down here and New York is up here. So geographically, that series only happens so many times. We play the Red Sox 19 times. We play the Orioles 19 times. You know what I mean? Toronto 19 times. Those are the intense games. So what I brought up to them to say was, I said, is Tom Brady great? They said yes. I said, is Bill Belichick a great coach? They said yes. I said, Bill Belichick is probably the greatest coach of all time, right? He said yes. I said, Tom Brady's probably the greatest quarterback of all time. He said yes. I said, they cheated. Right?
Oh, yeah,
right?
That one year where they played the New York Jets in the regular season, I believe it was like the 2007 regular season where they where they had like the little scandal. Man, I forgot about that story.
Rafique the freak. Rafique the freak. Let you count the ways. There have been so many different. Look what I just said. Tom Brady's the greatest quarterback of all time. I know that he's a stud. Bill Belichick is the greatest coach of all time. He's a stud. They've been in many situations of scandals of cheating. They had the Watergate. They had the Watergate thing, right?
Yeah, that's what I was talking about.
The Deflategate, excuse me.
The Deflategate
thing.
That was the Deflategate where they blew out the Indianapolis Colts that year where they won it all. I believe
right with the deflated balls or whatever thing. They had the thing about recording illegally in Super Bowls with other teams and so on and so forth. Before that, they've been in many different situations of when things have been controversial.
But when Tom Brady gets a job done, nobody thinks about that enough.
So, but you see how they won after those things, and that conversation, we still know it's there, but has went under the dirt a little bit because they were consistently after that. Pete Rose gambled on baseball, but he was a stud player. You understand that? They might not put him in the Hall of Fame because of political reasons, but the numbers are there. You can't lie. When they talk about Barry Bonds, even Mark McGwire, even Sosa, we want to talk about that in there. We want to say, oh, those guys juiced. Yeah, they might have juiced. Whoever got caught, whoever didn't get caught, whatever. We know they were all in the whole boat of allegations or whatever the case may be. But guess what? Barry Bonds was really good before steroids.
Exactly.
Mark McGwire was really good before steroids. Does anybody know that Mark McGwire won World Series in the 80s? I'll wait.
No.
Right? You know, does everybody know that Sammy Sosa was hitting home runs before he got extra cash? No, they're not going to tell you that. But they're going to say, yeah, they took steroids. All right, I am not saying it's right. It's not right in any sport
to cheat. It's never right.
It's not right in any sport to cheat.
You want to play and do things the right way by what the grace of God gave you and how hard you work and your talent and skill put together. However, we would be absolutely lying or blind. My high school coach said something to me in basketball. He said, if you ain't trying to cheat, you ain't trying to win. And what he was trying to stretch to us is that to say, guys, I don't necessarily mean cheat, but I'm saying you're supposed to do everything that you can competitively to win the game. So, or win in general. So whatever competitive edge I guess you have to do to get there, not saying to cheat, you have to do so. And there, in all sports, everybody does that. Football signs, they try to steal signs from the other side to get a. Baseball does the same thing too. Basketball, if I can notice something that you're doing that I can, and I see you do that tendency, I'm gonna tell somebody else so that this way they can try to take advantage of it. Now, those are smaller realms of cheating or whatever the case, or gamesmanship per se. But what I'm saying is that after a while, when do you let certain things go? Alex Rodriguez was good before getting caught with steroids, and he was good after it. Baseball, steroids doesn't necessarily make you a better player because baseball is about hand-eye coordination, even if you're a pitcher or a hitter. You understand? Hold on for 1 second. Yeah, Glenn to the front desk. How may I help you? Yeah. So, yes, it's after a while with certain things,
You just had to let things go. Seriously.
you gotta let it go. The Astros are good now. Way after they cheated a few years ago.
They had the 1 year after that where they weren't too great because the team was all in shambles. They had the suspensions, right? They didn't go to postseason. Every year after they went, World Series chance and lost. Now they have an opportunity to win. And, you know, I let that one go a minute ago because at the end of the day, they're being consistent. And it happens in sports, unfortunately, where, you know, it's there. It happens in sports.
Yeah, it happens. Well, to wrap up the conversation about the Astros and the Phillies, do you see the Astros finishing them off in Game 6 this weekend?
They should, but I don't think so. I think Philly got one. I don't know about two. I think they got one more fight in them. I think they got one more fight. Their backs against the wall. They're just gonna have to come out swinging, which I know they are. The last game, and come out gritty. And I think they'll push it to a Game 7. I don't know what they can do after that. I think Houston basically will wrap it up. But I think they have one more fight in them. But everything must go good for them in the first 4 or 5 innings. If they're in trouble early in the first 4 or 5 innings, they're done with that home crowd.
Yeah. Well, even though we are done with the World Series conversation in this episode, we're not done we're not done talking about Philadelphia versus Houston, because while we did have Philadelphia and Houston versus in the World Series, we had Philadelphia and Houston taking place on Thursday Night Football. And it's an undefeated Philadelphia Eagles going 8-0, defeating the 1-6-1 Houston Texans. Thoughts?
And they stink. The Texans are back. You know the Texans stink.
But you know what? They did put up a good effort, though. I mean, they scored the first touchdown in the game, then Jalen Hurts this far back. They took the lead 14-7, but then Houston tied the game going into the half. After that, it's pretty much a huge meltdown when Miles threw an interception, which led to the go-ahead touchdown by the Philadelphia Eagles, and they wouldn't call Philly ever again. So if you ask me, prior to the second half, the Houston Texans put up a much better fight than we thought they would.
Yeah, they competed. The Texans have decent players on the team.
Miles did do 2 interceptions, but Jalen Hurts, he was on fire with 243 yards, 9 9 yards and averaging, going 21 for 27, and with 2 touchdowns. So, yeah, they both had moments.
The Eagles definitely with the schedule. I'll say just being fair with their schedule. The toughest task would be they have the Cowboys one more time. They do play the Giants twice, but just being fair with our Giants, we are a good football team, but we're a good young transitioning football team. So those, depending on if we stay at the course we are now and how we're playing going into those games, that'll decide how tough of a test that'll be for Philadelphia. But they have possibilities on their schedule to clear the board or to win like 15 or 16 games. And what I'll say with this is that even though I don't think it will happen, because in the NFL season, there's always uncanny ways that you lose to teams. You have that blip game. You lose to a team you shouldn't lose to in the schedule. And I thought Pittsburgh would have the opportunity to do that, even though I knew Philly was better than Pittsburgh. But that's the thing with the Eagles if you play them this year. Let's just say it flat out. The most talented teams in the NFL right now to the midpoint point, at least the eye test wise, is Kansas City, Buffalo, and Philadelphia. Those and
we'll say the Cowboys,
but talent wise, but and honestly, Minnesota. But I'll get into why.
But with the hold off point with Minnesota,
Philadelphia is really loaded with talent. They're really good, and then defensively, I mean, they have guys that not only are ball hawks and will turn you over, especially in the secondary. They got James Bradbury that used to be a Giant. That's on the Eagles. They have the other color corner that's good. They have a safety that's young and good. And the linebackers is good. They just picked up Robert Quinn from the Bears on top of the pass rushers that they already had on the team. They are really good defensively. So the first thing that a team is going to do, if you're going to beat the Eagles, and the antidote to beat the Eagles is you can't not turn the ball over offensively. They usually turn interceptions into touchdowns or interceptions to get good field, and their team scores a touchdown. Same thing with the fumble. So the turnovers can happen. And the second thing of all is that defensively, you're going to have a sound game, because offensively, it's not even like they're super dynamic and they have receivers that can make plays on the outside without a shadow of a doubt. And they need to run the ball more, but they have 2 good running backs. It's the way they're set up with Jalen Hurts and how he can have that run pass option and make plays with his feet, but still make plays with his arm and be dynamic. They play short, they can play deep. So you're going to have to get them in a game where you control the football more, kind of like what you do see the Giants do with running the football and keeping the football away from the other team and grinding out that clock and stay in a close game. You turn it over too much with the Eagles, you're going to lose. You know what I mean? And so if the Giants, when we do play them twice, we're going to have to out-scheme them and outsmart them so well, because on paper, they have more talent than we do. So we would have to play a good football game in order to win. Same thing. The Cowboys wouldn't have to do that. The Cowboys are loaded with talent. But the top tier teams in the NFL to me is definitely Buffalo, Philadelphia, Kansas City, Minnesota. And then after that, that's when we get to the Cowboys, the Miami Dolphins, and it's like the Baltimore Ravens, and that type of tier. But again, Minnesota's just a iffy because
Kirk Cousins is a solid quarterback, but we don't always know if Kirk Cousins is going to be the one. Kirk Cousins just does well in prime.
That does bad in primetime games. He hasn't won on Monday night. He's had some playoff interesting situations, but he's a good quarterback. He can make plays. But everything else with Minnesota set up. Phenomenal defense, great receivers. They just picked up a great tight end. Quarterback is the key. But, like I said, we'll see. with Philadelphia, and that's what they were expecting. The Texans stink. No matter somehow, some way, they're going to find a way to lose.
Yeah, without question. And the one way they found to lose tonight is those 2 interceptions in the second half. I mean, literally. You were down by 12 points. You had a chance to get down. Like after you slowed down the Eagles at their own 10-yard line, you got the football back, but they turned it over.
Yeah, you gotta
And then the running back Pierce, well, he found ways to he found open lanes in the Russian defense of the Philadelphia Eagles, but the Eagles, they always found ways to slow the guy down.
defense, and it just you have to play a good game to beat that team. They can stop the run. They can attack the
quarterback. They can turn you over and pick the ball off to get interceptions. They can keep you intermediate. They can. They're a good football team for a reason. But there has been games this year. The Lions played them in a good game, close the first game of the season.
That's true.
When the Eagles jumped out on the Lions early, and then the Lions came stormed back to come back in the game. There's been a few games here and there where it was, one like you look at the game today, the Texans, like you said. As much as I'm berating the Texans, and this is the NFL, so anything can happen any week. And listen, the Giants play the Texans the week after the bye week, so definitely I don't want to come off the bye week and be the one to give the goddamn Texans the second win. You understand? But anything can happen in the NFL this season, but you have to prepare. But they've had some games this year with some teams where it could have went one or either way. That's why I said they've had games where the team is close, but they make a big play here and then spread the lead. So you can't give Philly that time. Pittsburgh had an opportunity, and then one bad goal turnover. Man, you gotta stay tight with them. There was a game a few weeks ago where somebody played them, and they were real close, and they had an opportunity to win.
They got what they reached, but Cooper Rush threw an interception, and it was over.
There you go. And that's also a game that they played without Dak Prescott. So we'll see the next time, as long as Dak is healthy, how they do when Dak Prescott is there. You know what I mean? I don't care for any two of those teams, but, we'll call a spade a spade. I think if the Cowboys play to their potential with Dak Prescott, they should beat the Eagles the next time. But that's just what I say. You know what I mean? So we'll see how that narrative will go. But it's a long season, and so just in the NFC East, I'm just happy that we got this bye week per se for us Giants. Going off topic, but football, to get guys healthy and come back, and hopefully can get a win against the Texans.
That is also true. But sticking back to the Philadelphia Eagles, we look at the second half of their schedule. The best chance that they have to lose a game is against the Dallas Cowboys on December 24th. But that's assuming that they can stay undefeated up until that point, because I mean, obviously you got the Washington Commanders coming up. They blasted them in Washington last time they played them, and then after that they got a road game against the Indianapolis Colts. Lucas Oil State is a tough place to play.
That could be a trap game.
Even for an average team led by a Matt Ryan. Yeah. After that, they called to play the Green Bay Packers. Well, Aaron Rodgers has been underwhelming this season, so they should have no problem winning that one, even if it does take a close game. Then they have the Tennessee Titans. Well, they have to slow down Derrick Henry. That's all I gotta say. Yeah. And then of course there's the New York Giants. Us New York Giants fans, we wanted to win, but we had no. But when the last time they came to the Meadowlands, we had no problem defeating them when we only won 4 games.
Last year, right?
Yeah, last year in a year where we only won 4 games. So serendipity.
Yeah, a lot of serendipity on that. So
after that, you got the Chicago Bears.
Bears. Yeah.
Justin Fields, he's all right.
Yeah.
You're not good enough. You're not stopping Jalen Hurts. Sorry about that.
Yeah, right.
We talked about the Cowboys game. Then they got the 2-game home state of face season. The one states they trash.
They have potential to practically clear the board or win at least 14, 15, 16 games.
Yeah, and the Saints, they trash. So don't even get me started on the win against the Las Vegas Raiders last week. That was literally a bye week for them. Well, yeah, that's pretty much it. Now, we'll get more to talking about the NFL later, and let's just talk about a certain scale that happened with the Brooklyn Nets. Because it's bad enough they started off 2-6, but they fired their coach, Steve Nash. And Kyrie Irving has to go through another 5-game suspension. Or in this case, he has to miss more games of his Brooklyn Nets career due to antinomianism. So, if you follow the Kyrie Irving situation thoroughly, what are your thoughts on this one?
Oh, they did suspend him for 5 games?
Yup, they suspended him for 5 games, without question. Kyrie
The Nets or the NBA?
Pay dismayed by his repeated failure to unequivocally say he has no anti-Antisemitic beliefs.
The NBA or the Brooklyn Nets suspended him?
The Nets suspended him.
Oh, okay. All right. Right. I don't know. You know, Kyrie's such a great basketball and a great thinker to begin with, as eccentric as he can be at times, or a lot of times. I think that if you're not a real intelligent mind or smart thinker, you won't be able to dissect Kyrie the right way. And Kyrie knows that he's so savvy and so intelligent and such a different thinker, so he knows he can polarize people a certain way. But you know, I always say this, and you know, we're recording now. You know, people might watch this or whatever the case may be. There's certain conversations that you can have in your living room, and there's certain conversations that you can have from the public on TV. You know what I mean? If we come on this show and we say 1,000 profanities 1,000 times, and somebody sees it, that's going to get polarized because, you know, that's just not normal behavior. You shouldn't, you know, unless you're on public access or late night comedy, or it's one of those type of shows where, you know, or where that's what the genre is. You just can't. There's certain things you can't say, and it's not like there's not certain things that Kyrie is not saying that's not true or accurate. It's the fact that you just can't say that on TV. You know what I'm saying? You can't say that publicly without it getting. There was no way that with comments like that you're going to get everybody to completely agree with you. It's going to come across the wrong way. We're not arguing about the Eagles and the Texans winning a football game. We're talking about race and religion. You know what I'm saying? And if you notice in life, that's why when you get in the workplace, they say never to discuss race or religion or politics. There's certain conversations that no matter how it flips, there is no win in any subject. You can't, if you're at a workplace, let's say, and you're working with white Americans and Jamaicans and Haitians and Trinidadians and somebody from 10 people from Russia and black people from down south. You know what I'm saying? Many people of many different cultures and many different religious beliefs as well too. You're not going to win by saying I'm Republican at work because everybody might not be Republican. You understand that? And then now you're going to open up a different, you know, because you don't like what I view and I don't like, and it's fine. We don't have to like the same thing, but I just have to respect your way of life and you have to respect mine. As long as you don't, you know, we don't, you know what I'm saying? And so that was not going to get polarized the proper way. And it's just consistently sad
how Kyrie is always in the middle of some type.
The world is flat. The LeBron Kyrie thing, how he was so accepting of LeBron, but then not accepting of LeBron, then wanted out from LeBron, then apologized eventually, and then the only time I did agree with him a little bit 100% was his stint with the Celtics, and he had the issues with the Celtics, had issues with Celtics fans. He commented how some of the Celtics fans and stuff could be racist and so on and so forth, which there's a lot of truth to that, but that's a whole different conversation. But he had those situations over there. Then he goes to Brooklyn. And you know what's so crazy? Quietly, Kevin Durant is not a Knick because of Kyrie Irving, Durant was going to come here. And James Dolan's silly comments on top of Kyrie and Durant are good friends, and Kyrie convinces Durant to go to Brooklyn. Then when Kyrie signed first, then Durant came along. And they went there, and it's been actually an absolute mess for the last 4 years. They've accomplished nothing.
When got swept last year, and now you start off 2-6. But to me,
so
5 of the 6 losses came against teams that were in the playoffs last year and are expected to be good this year. They got blasted by the Pelicans, put up somewhat of a fight, but got blasted by Memphis. Even though Kyrie and KD both had scored in the 30s, going up against designated John Morant's 30s. You put up a good fight against the Dallas Mavericks and lost in overtime. The loss against Milwaukee, that's no surprise. But Indiana, really? I mean, they did manage to get a second game against them, but the first game, you should not lose any game to Indiana. They're taking for Victor Wembanyama. And then there's a loss to the Chicago Bulls.
Victor Wembanyama, yeah. But they got some good kids on the team. They got I like the Dominican kid Duarte, Chris Duarte, and they got the kid Mathurin. He can play. He can hoop. Hoops.
Yeah, and don't forget about Tyrese Halliburton, the kid that they.
He hoops.
I mean, okay, the Pacers, they got some hoopers. I get it, but they're not expected to win that many games this year. They're really not.
Of course. The Kyrie just,
Yeah, he's always in the wrong center of attention now. Yeah. But luckily, he did issue an apology because he said an Instagram post to all Jewish families and communities that are hurt and affected from my post. I am deeply sorry to have caused you pain, and I apologize. I initially reached out of emotion to being unjustly labeled anti-Semitic. Instead of focusing on the healing process of my Jewish brothers and sisters that were hurt from the hateful remarks made in the documentary, I want to clarify any confusion on where I stand fighting against anti-Semitic Semitism by apologizing for posting the documentary without context and a factual explanation outline the specific benefits in the documentary I agree with and disagree with. I had no intention to disrespect any Jewish culture history regarding the Holy Christ or perpetuate any hate. I am learning from this unfortunate event and hope we can find understanding between us all. I was kind of rambling out because words are tough to say, but when you listen to what I just read, like, what does it get you thinking about?
Yeah, it's just another. Kyrie's always he's been having the same. I'm sorry for like almost whole career. Just hopefully they can get past it. The dope is gonna be there now, right? And hopefully they gotta clear. They're always gonna have a cloud over them, but they just gotta clear a lot of controversy that's going on there. They gotta get the core guys on the court, get some chemistry, get some kind of identity. They gotta learn how to defend, and then they can be something. They just got too much going on there. Kyrie just needs to if I was Kyrie, I would just take these 5 games and chill. They had to pay money. And I would just come back and just don't say anything. Like, keep it simple in interviews. Don't do interviews you don't have to. And just focus on basketball. Like just don't say, I don't want to say that because I want the guys to have an opinion. But right now, it's like knowing that you're a good worker, but you've come late to work like 4 times in the last 2 weeks. The next 2 weeks, you just need to shut up and just come to work every day on time. You feel me?
Because you know what? Mm-hmm. So we don't come on the air and talk about this, but it's like this is an important factor in Kyrie Irving playing games. So you have to be. It needs to be discussed.
Of course it does.
As much as I try to stay out of politics when coming on the show. I mean, since it has to be talked about at least somewhat, I have no choice. And my fault for the mispronouncing of some of the words that you just listed, because those words were kind of.
Those are big words. Those are
big.
And I know what you meant.
College level words. I just read to you people. I mean, but we went through college. We read all that stuff.
Come on, you got the freaking banners in the side of your house. Who cares? The big LIU life, Fordham life. The blacks ain't gonna lie. Blacks are there, baby.
Yeah. Now, on to the very next topic. The Knicks choke another 20-plus point lead and it had another loss to the Atlanta Hawks. Was that even surprising?
No. Listen, I love my Knicks. And like I said, my same guy, my crash brother, I'm gonna go be with on Saturday. I gotta go announce this game out in Melville with Shots with the Patience crew. Shout out to Shots with the Patience and Coach Stray and what they do. And big Nick, he's a big Nick fan like me. So when we were fighting and arguing at IS8, you met my man Patrick. He came to IS8, so you met the crash brother. That's the one me and him go at it with the Mets. And with our likes on the Knicks. So I should have known he's gonna be one of those. Like I love him because he's a Knicks fan, but I know the type of Knicks fan he's in. I'm like, oh, you're one of those euphoric Knicks fans. I get it. So we had so many arguments about other sports topics, so I'll just keep it Knicks with talking Knicks. With the Knicks, I said, listen, this year I got the Knicks being anywhere from 7 to 11. They're a convenience store. They're a playing team, or the lower echelon of the playoffs team. Oh no, the Knicks not gonna be that bad. I said, okay, so what do you consider them? What if they're not gonna be 7 to 11, and if I'm saying 7 to 11, then I'm acknowledging that there is playoff potential there, right? It's just not upper echelon playoff potential. So he's like, oh no, they're going to be anywhere from like a 4 or a 6 seed. I said, they're going to be a 4 or 6 seed. I said 6 is possible. That's the highest way I see. But I said, I don't know about after that. He's like, oh, and he's running away. Oh. I said, come on, Patrick, we've been going through this for years. Our Knicks have been good like 4 times in the last 20-something years. Come on, let's be real, right? And I said, they didn't have a good season last year. They're coming back with the team is the same team, excluding Jalen Brunson, who's a key acquisition. Jalen Brunson is doing really good things with the New York Knicks. Remember I said that. Jalen Brunson is playing very good ball, right? He needs to get a little bit better on the defensive end, but everything else he does well, right? And Hartenstein. And Hartenstein is a good pickup. Left-handed, can shoot the 3, rebound, will finish in the paint. I like Hartenstein. Okay?
I mean, I just feel that his floater needs a little bit of work. Like, if you're going to shoot the floater shot for the free throw line, at least make sure that the release is on point. That's the only thing that he needs to work on. And the 3-point shooting, he needs a little bit of work on his shots.
Oh, no, Hartenstein can shoot the 3. Remember, he's 6'11". No, he can knock it down.
But it's inconsistent. That's what I'm trying to say. I mean, he can hit threes, but it's inconsistent. Consistency needs to be there.
But at least he can give the defender the threat of shooting from out there. And when you do have and you gotta remember how many shots you take. But you're right. You know what I'm saying? But so excluding Brunson and Hartenstein, that's the same team from last year. Julius Randle, Obi Toppin's a little bit better improved. Manuel quickly, Derrick Rose. How much did Kemba really play last year?
Not too much.
So based off
barely use it. I mean, that's the thing with Tom Thibodeau. He barely uses most of his players.
Well, so my prediction for him was that this is what I see with them. I said, on top of that, I said, let's just be flat out real. They're a 6-17. by accident.
Just off paper and how we know residual that are better than the Knicks. He's like, oh, I said, name them. I said, okay.
Bucks.
Mm-hmm.
At that time, I said Bucks, Brooklyn, Miami, Boston, Philadelphia, Atlanta, Cleveland. He said, oh no!
He stops me. Oh no! No way. We're better than Atlanta. I said, no, we're not. Atlanta's been kicking our butts for the last 2 years. They eliminated us in the playoffs.
We were up by 23 points and then
stop.
So stop it.
I said, stop it. Atlanta's been kicking our butts for the last 2 years. They obliterated us in the playoffs. Okay?
We did take 3 out of 4 for them last season.
Oh, stop it.
We did take 3 out of 4 for them last season. Remember that.
Stop. Oh, stop it. Last game they played, and Trae Young played them in the Garden, and Taj Gibson fall and had shot a 3, and they had like 30. They played Atlanta last year. They did. Men lie, women lie, numbers don't. They beat the Hawks 3 times out of 4 last year. The Hawks also weren't the same team they were after that postseason. They were decimated with a little bit of injuries last year as well, too. Mm-hmm. And during the times that we played them, we always played them when they didn't have a lot of their core guys. I'll take it. The last game when it meant something for us to have a little chance to go to whatever it was, they kicked our butt.
But Julius Randle was out that game. Let's not forget.
Oh, Jesus. Oh, yeah. Yeah, so Randle was there. It was guaranteed win, right? Just like it was guaranteed 2 years ago in the playoffs, right? When he was there, all 5 games they played against the Atlanta Hawks. Don't even start me. I don't even want to start. And so I said, the Hawks are better than us. I don't want to hear that crap. I said, the Cavs are better than us. Oh, the Cavs are not better. Oh, I said.
We picked up Donovan Mitchell. Donovan Mitchell schooled the Knicks last Sunday.
I said, Patrick, not only do I watch the games on TV and the highlights, I actually go to the Garden to the games. I actually pay for my ticket to be a loser. And I go there and I said, I watched it in person. I was at the first Knicks Cavs game last year. Rookie Rubio, who's not even playing this year because they're recovering from a torn ACL, had 7 threes. He shot it from 42nd Street, 53rd Street, 66th Street. He shot on every street in 34th Street that day. And not only that, we had no answer for the young Mobley inside. He's a really solid player. This is before Jared Allen got to the team, because Jared Allen got in the middle of the year. I said the Cavs were a good team. The Cavs were a top 4 team in the Eastern Conference last year before the injuries. And they still went to the postseason with a young core team. So now all those young core kids are coming back that can play. You still have a veteran savvy Kevin Love. So no matter how much we want to hate him, this is an NBA champion and a savvy veteran. You have Mobley, you have Jared Allen, you have a Darius Garland who hasn't even come back from injury yet, and Darius Garland can play. And now you brought in the Donovan Mitchell,
who was basically his way back to being a playoff team.
I said they're better than us. I said you're gonna see. The only if in the lower echelon of teams where they're coming up now lower echelon is Miami. Miami went on a bad road swing. They're starting to come back up. Philadelphia was starting to come back up, but now Harden is out for a month. So let's see how that.
The one exception where I'm glad Harden's now on the Nets.
The Nets.
If he was on the Nets right now, that would have been another big problem for Brooklyn.
That's probably why he wanted out a minute ago.
I know. He was hurt. Yeah, I know. He was hurt in his last couple of games. He was barely himself before he got traded. And then right now, he's going to be out for a whole month, for the entire month of November. He won't play up until like early December. And at least we know Philadelphia, they're going to still be around and stay within the hunt for the playing turn. Yeah. But James Harden's injuries, man, this is a rare time where I can say I'm glad he's not on the Brooklyn Nets anymore.
Knicks are no higher than a 6 seed when it comes down to it, to me. 6 or lower, but I call them what I call them. The East is very good. There's a lot of good teams, and it is going to be a very interesting year.
Yeah, and to wrap up this, and to continue the conversation with the New York Knicks, I'm going to show you this sports segment of the week, and it features Stephen A. Smith.
One other person is going to come.
It features Stephen A. Smith Hey, Tracy Morgan.
Brother, I'm happy that he's here. If you don't see a smile on my face, it has nothing to do with you. I'm always happy to see you. You know it's all love. It's just the subject matter that has me in a different mood.
Steve, I don't want nobody to get used to being patient. We got to win now. Okay, we got it. We looking good. I'm a part of the organization, okay? When I go to the Knicks game, I tape up. They might need me to go in there and call timeout. I'm the best timeout caller in the league, okay? I'm part of the organization. The bench is looking good. It could be a little deeper. The starters are looking great. The starters look Brunson, everybody's looking great. If I had one concern, it would just be shooting. But you don't got to chuck up threes if you play D. We all know that defense wins championships. Offense wins games. Got to play D. It's all D for me. I used to be 12 years and under.
Yeah.
I used to coach 12 years and under.
Yeah.
I was the black
like
Bobby
the same
Knight.
thing, yeah.
I was the black Bobby Knight. I'm throwing Gatorade buckets on the court, cheers and everything. If you don't play defense, that's how I feel at the Garden.
Tracy, I have to deal with this man every day.
He's hurting.
So can you do anything to cheer him
hurting.
up? To
All I can
change
do is
his
understand.
position?
All I can do is understand.
You got to talk him out of this
He
slump.
needs
His
understand.
negative energy is clouding me.
Please don't be crowded. Don't be clouded. He needs understanding right now. He's like every other Knicks fan. You got it's been a long time. We done. We tired. We got to win. That's all we want. That's all we want. We need a chip. New York.
Oh,
you know
okay.
what John
Let's
Lennon
not
called
get
New York
crazy.
City? Do you know what John Lennon called New York City? He called it Rome. It's the center of the world. This
Yes,
is the
the
center
Mecca.
of the world right here.
Come on. I need you to sit back. And I just ask you for your patience and let me sound off, and then I'll give you the floor, okay? Everybody knows that even though renovations have taken place and the Garden looks a little bit better, and across the street the Penn Station is fly, you go up in there, you're taking a cellar and all of that stuff, all that's good, right? But if you go right under the Garden, people are under the impression that the Knicks have rats and roaches in them. You see what I'm saying? As if it's the rats and roaches' fault. No, the rats and roaches follow the Knicks to the Garden.
Wow.
That's how contaminating the Knicks can be. That's what happened, okay? Now, let me be very, very clear about what I'm about to say. I want the world to know that when you look at this roster, it's not horrible. I think Julius Randle can ball. He just got to stop dribbling 7 or 8 times and
But he's
launch it
not
up.
doing that this year.
Forward. I ask you patience. I ask for patience, okay?
I'm sorry.
Okay. Julius Randle can play. Just be that big boy, that man amongst boys, and take the ball in the hole. But he could play. I'm happy that R.J. Barrett got his money. Jalen Brunson can play. I think that he's going to help their point guard spot. I don't see the Knicks describe. I like Obi Toppin. Although I said draft Halliburton because you needed a point guard. They didn't listen. But I like Obi Toppin. I like Emmanuel Quickly. Evan Fournier, he shows up 2 games for every 5. The other 3 he misses because he's sorry. But those 2 games, he's really playing lights out. And he's hitting threes, and R.J. Barrett can hit threes, and Quickly can hit threes. I get all of that. The frustration comes from the top. See, we have an owner. Now, we're not going to accuse him of the same ilk that we're doing Daniel Snyder in the NFL or Robert Sarver in the NBA. But if there's another owner that needs to go, it's that damn James Dolan. That man needs to go. And you're listening to an African-American that recognizes that James Dolan has done a lot for African-Americans. It's just that this franchise will never win with him because the culture that he puts in place, he always finds somebody else to follow. Which brings me to Leon Rose. Now, I've known Leon Rose for over 20 years. I love the man. I'm incredibly disappointed at the leadership, which is something that I'm not apologetic about and I don't hide. Because you have to be able to be an extension to the people. Him hiding from folks and not doing interviews unless they're in-house, and you got different people on the phone with Danny Ainge negotiating when you a former agent, and the reason you got the job is because of your expertise in negotiating, but somebody else is on the phone negotiating for you is a problem. When you got an Allen Houston and a World Wide West and others who I love and respect as well, but you had a playoff game sent behind the damn bench for players that you recruiting like this is Kentucky, that's a problem. When you got people around the league talking smack about you. Do you know that I was told that when they showed up for the playoff game with Brunson on one side and Donovan Mitchell on the other, I was told that Danny Ainge sat up there and said, when hell freezes over, will I do a deal with them? You got all of these picks available to you, but somehow, some way, no deal was good enough for Danny Ainge to accept from you, but he don't mind shipping them to Cleveland. The Knicks could have given a better deal than that, but Danny Ainge said, ain't no way in hell I'm doing business with them because he didn't like the way they did business.
That's because they sat behind the bench?
That's right. And that's right. That's exactly why. What I'm saying to you is this. When stuff like that happens, it enlightens us that, once again, something other than pure basketball is in the way. That's the Knicks. It repeatedly is the Knicks. And until it stops and they get with the times and start conducting themselves like everybody else does, we're going to be in this rut.
Well, the Knicks
That's
could
where
be
I'm
in
at with
last
it.
place. Dolan is not giving up the team.
I know.
He could be in last place. The Knicks still make the most money in the league.
That's right.
You want to know why? Wall Street is right down the block.
Because people like you show up no matter what. People like Spike show up no matter what. Oh, he going to be on this show eventually, too. I'm sick of this. Somebody got to stand up and say, yo, y'all got to do better.
Hey, silver lining.
What's silver lining?
Look at the Giants. Look at the Jets, how they've turned
Look at the
around.
I thought we were talking about the Knicks.
Yeah.
I thought we were talking about the Knicks. They ain't owned by Dolan.
It turned
They're not
around.
owned by Dolan.
Looking
Things
great.
can turn around.
We got, Steven, listen. We got to wait for the league. We got to wait for the season to start.
They start tonight against Memphis. What do you think will happen? You know what's going to happen, right? You know what's going to happen tonight, right?
I believe we're going to win.
You going to beat Memphis?
I know we playing
You going to
again.
beat John Morant
I know we playing again.
and the crew tonight in Memphis?
But it's a test. We said the same thing about the Giants Sunday.
Yep.
Okay, Lamar Jackson.
You're a Giants fan,
he got
too?
feet. We said the
I
same
picked
thing.
the Giants to win this past Sunday. I would
I'm
remind you.
glad you did that.
Okay.
You didn't lose your money.
I don't bet.
You're feeling good about
You
the
with
Giants.
the short shot. So you know what time it is. You with the Giants. You went there. Let's hope the Yankees and the Giants leak over to the Knicks.
No.
Let's wait for the
I was
season.
at the game last year, because I'm not going to the Garden this year. I'm not putting myself
Don't
through it.
do
I'm not
this.
putting myself
Don't
through it.
do
I'm not
this.
going to the Garden this year.
Don't do this.
I'm rooting for them.
Come on.
I'm never
We
going to root against
expect
the
to
Knicks.
see you there.
I'm not going to the Garden. Listen.
When you are there, listen. You see all them people at the Garden? You see all them people in there? I'm one of them. I'd love to see you there.
That's why I was just going.
When I see my league
You were there. You were there when they played Chicago. I was sitting courtside. Zach LaVine walks up to me. They're playing the Chicago Bulls.
Yeah.
He walks up to me, literally with you sitting across from me courtside. You waved at me, gave me love, the whole bit. Zach LaVine interrupts, blocks our vision. And he walks up to me with the powder on his hand. He said, you came here to see us lose tonight. He said, that ain't happening. It's a wrap. He said, I promise you that. And walked away. And then went out and bust the Knicks you know what.
Something?
You know, I mean, this is what he
May
does.
I say something,
and you
Steve?
left looking depressed. You was all excited and
May I
hyped,
say
and you left
something?
looking depressed.
That was last year. That's all I'm going to say. That was last
Yeah,
year.
it's a new year.
Not now.
Hey, Stephen A., look how you
Let it go.
You let
Whatever
it
you
go
angry
with
with
the
the
Nets.
Knicks about, let it go. Just let it go.
Can I read? Let me go.
What are you going to read?
2013, 2014, 37-45.
You're in the past
Then
again.
17-65. Then 32-50.
past.
Then 31-51. Then 29-53.
I
Then
didn't know you were a
17-65.
Giants fan,
Then
too.
21-45.
You're
Then they
good.
made the playoffs that year. And then 37-45.
You were at the game. You were at the game. Were you shocked? You were shocked that they beat Lamar Jackson and the Ravens?
No.
So that's what we're going to do now?
You think
That's what
the
we gonna do
Giants
now?
are going to the playoffs?
Yeah.
So that's what you're doing now. You're going to have him here, and you're going to bring up the Giants. When you go to the Knicks.
You want to go back there. I'm not doing
Yeah,
it.
we're not going.
let's
We're
go
not
to
looking
the
back.
A ship doesn't sink because of the water around
Yeah.
it. It sinks because the water gets in it.
Yeah.
Time out.
I'm not going to let the past weigh me down.
The rearview mirror is
It wouldn't
smaller
sink
than
at
the mirror
all.
up
It
front.
wouldn't sink at all if there was no damn water. But with the Knicks, there's always something leaking. Always.
Stephen
You know what?
A.?
Can I say something, Steve? When the Knicks win the chip, in our time,
I would
you're
be
going to
ecstatic.
cry. You're going to
I would cry.
I know
I
you
would cry.
Would you?
I'd be so
I know.
happy. I'd cry.
I've never seen
That's
you
what
cry.
they mean to me.
Then I'm gonna
That's
start
what they mean to me.
crying.
Listen,
Then I'm gonna start crying.
listen. Let me tell you something right now. You have any idea? Hold on.
Brian, what was his name? What was the football with
Listen.
Billy D. Williams?
Y'all.
Brian's song.
Yeah, Brian's song. Whatever. The point is this. Listen to me. Listen to me, man. Worldwide West, William Wesley, and I go back more than 25 years. I love this brother. Allen Houston, I've known for years. I know people in the Knicks organization. I love them. Listen to me. Listen to me. I've known these people for decades. All I say is hi and bye. I can't talk to them. Because this is the Knicks. This is the Knicks, man.
Do you want me to feel the way you feel?
No, I want you to feel better.
Do you want me to stay there?
No.
Where I believe?
No.
And
I'll be watching every game. I'll be watching every game. But I can't go to a garden that's more preoccupied with running the media off the court than they are playing basketball games. I can't do it. They care about the wrong things. It's petty. And it sifts on down to infiltrate the basketball operations.
Okay. After we watched that clip with Stephen A. Smith and Tracy Morgan, what do you learn from everything that Tracy Morgan said in that clip?
I'm like Stephen A. I'm not gonna stop go though. I'm always gonna go. It's not, but I'm the Stephen A. Nick fan. I'm the one like yo guys, can we slow down? Like but I still, you know, he goes the biggest thing always with me. And it definitely got stamped for me after 2001. Me living in New York for so long, you know, my mother being of Jamaican descent, my father being of Jamaican descent, and my mother having me in Toronto, Ontario, Canada, where I was born, but I came up here to New York when I was 4 years old. I'm 39 now. You know, I spent a few years, about 4.5 years in PA, going to school in PA. When I was in Philadelphia, I was out of those regions. But I'm a New Yorker. I've been in New York since I was 4 years old. So coming up, most of the teams that I liked was eventually who I got to like was New York. You know, the Yankees, the Rangers. You know, eventually became a really huge Knicks fan. Never changed. I actually became a Giants fan in 2001 officially. That's when I was like a 2000, one of those times. But
after they got blasted by the Baltimore Ravens in Super Bowl once.
Yes, during that time.
Super Bowl loss we had, but we're not going to talk about that.
Now, after my first year of college, just to see how, like I told you, how outside states view New York and how it's always a competition and either the hate or the angriness or the envy, and me going to school in PA. Most of my friends, you know, or college mates around there was from Philly or Pittsburgh or DC, and you see the rivalry or the jostle or the disdain that they have for NY. Like I was always gonna I'm not ever gonna rep any team unless it's New York. Like that's how it is. I don't care if the Knicks is bad for the next 100 years. I'm from New York. If I move to Oklahoma and I live in Oklahoma for the next 10, I'm a Knicks fan. That's it. I don't care. You know what I mean? So that's always been a stick with me because New York is New York. That's why I'd be so mad that I can't rock with a Mets fan because I don't hate the New York Mets as a team. I like I don't like the fans. You know what I'm saying? So that's but I'm New York no matter what. So I will never do that perspective of Stephen A. But I can understand that. I can understand why I know a lot of guys. I know this guy here at the job. You call him Pierre Haitian man. Pierre. That's not Pierre's last name. Pierre, very nice guy though, very nice man. And Pierre's a Miami Heat fan. And he's a Miami Heat fan because of Pat Riley. He says he likes the structure and the organization and the culture they have. And I have no problem with that. Pat Riley and Miami Heat and Spoelstra, those guys make sure they keep a good culture down there. That's why no matter what, they play a winning brand of basketball. But he's really a Knicks fan. But what happened was he's been so hurt over the years. And with Pat Riley going over there, and if the Knicks would have made the smarter decision in 90-something, and not been scared to give, which was kind of unprecedented at the time, but not, is the beginning of it. They didn't want to give Pat Riley the ownership to be the president and vice president of basketball operations on top of the coach, which probably would have been smarter to do because you see how he did to Miami, right? That would have probably been us. But who knows? So he's been a Miami Heat fan because of that, and Pat Riley. But he's not a Knicks fan no more because he's been hurt so much. I got my brother-in-law I spoke the other day that has been so hurt by the Giants over the last 6 years. And I mean, this guy's a die-hard Giants fan. I mean, in the 80s, 90s Giants fan. He told me he almost gave up on the Giants. He said he's rooting for Buffalo. When Giants feel so good, he's like, yo, I can't even believe the Giants so good. He said, I can't lie. I said, damn, not you. So I get it, with the Knicks. But this is what they allow you to do. I remember when I used to go chill with the guys on Sugar Hill after Dykeman every year, and we talk Knicks game. They'd be like, "Oh, Knicks going to play somebody." No, they're not. They're going to win 30 games.
And that's what Smith would say. You heard the clip.
No, and they'd be like, "You're right." They're like, "What kind of fan are you? What kind of fan are you? A real one. You have to be realistic." Listen, here's my metaphor for it. You're like, oh, why you're Knicks? Here's my metaphor. Your mother is your mother, right? This is just a metaphor. This is not for anybody. Your mother is your mother. If your mother's a crackhead, she's still your mother. You get it? And that's our infatuation with them. Take it easy, Tom. That because I'm loyal, and I love the Knicks. The Knicks is my crack. That's the crackhead, and I know damn well I shouldn't like that my mama because she's a crackhead, but she's still my mother. You understand? And at the end of the day, that's the biggest thing with them, where we know it's going to be bad, but that's who you like and you support. One day they might click it in. The Kansas City Royals didn't think they're going to win. It happened 46 years. The Cubs waited 110 years. Okay? The Indians are still looking to break that curse of 50-something years, but they've had time. There's teams that have done it. The Warriors didn't win for 40-something years before they just started getting some.
Before they started building that dynasty, with that low-key dynasty, winning 4 championships in an 8-year span. San Antonio wasn't that much a winning franchise before Tim Duncan came around.
Right. The Mariners didn't go to the playoffs this year before 17 years.
Mariners only made the playoffs after winning the World Series against New York Yankees. They made the playoffs one time during the COVID pandemic year. In the last 20-something years, in the last 19 years, the New York Giants, after the Lawrence Taylor days, with the exception of the ones who they weren't being the Super Bowl again until they got pounded by Baltimore. And then, of course, they were the buzzsaw in 07 and 2011. I brag about that all the time.
Right.
We talk about so it's like, and they only made the playoffs once in the last 11 years. Now they're 6-2 to start the year. They may not surpass the Philadelphia Eagles, but if they don't do that, they're going to be the buzzsaw to them and probably make it to the Super Bowl anyway.
Well, if the playoffs ended today, which means that hopefully that'll be a redemption song. The playoffs ended today. You know who the Giants will play?
The Seahawks.
There you go.
And while we're on the subject, they took their second loss of the season in Seattle. Now, to be fair, Seattle's a tough place to play. I've been to Seattle before. I didn't go to a game, but I've been to that area before. I've actually seen the football field in real life before in my life. So I don't need to attend a game just to know how crazy the atmosphere down in Seattle, Washington can be for the Seahawks. It was good enough during the days during the days they were relevant during Russell Wilson before they had that mediocre season that led to getting traded to Denver. But Geno Smith made the Seattle Seahawks a division-winning team. I said division-winning team. If they good enough to beat the Giants that time, they probably could be good enough to beat the Giants if they were to face off in the postseason. Not to mention, they know how to play defense on special teams. They forced 2 fumbles on special teams last year. That's the only reason why. And they scored 10 points off of those fumbles. That's the only reason why we lost that game.
Slow down, my young grasshopper. Everything that you're saying is why I know that if they do play them the second time, they would have an opportunity to win. Is because one, in the NFL, it can happen, but sometimes it's hard to beat a team twice in a season, especially when you've seen them one time earlier and got not a narrow victory, but whatever victory, and then you got to see them again. And these are the experiences the Giants will have to use. Now, that's perfect. I'm looking at it like that's perfect if it can stay that way. There's a lot of football to be played. So the playoff standings now doesn't have to mean it's going to be anything like what it's going to look like week 16, week 17. But the Giants, with the kids that were there, and they guys that are going to come back, now know what it does feel like to play in Seattle. They know how loud it's going to be. They know how cold it's going to be. Cold weather's not going to matter to them. They'll be playing in New York where it's cold anywhere, so they'll be used to that.
And
they'll be able to play. They'll be able to play in any type of weather because of New York and our terrains too as well. And now they'll be more equipped, especially offensively, on play calling and play snaps, how to deal with the crowd, and have a better plan of what. And now they have the eye test of what we need to do to see to beat this team. Now, yes, you're key on right with those turnovers. That is the absolute game there. Throughout all that, with Seattle's supposed to be that much better than the Giants. And remember, the Giants are overachieving. They shouldn't be 6-2.
Right?
So the score was 26-13 off of Richie James fumbled both of the fumble returns by his damn self. Okay?
Exactly.
All right. The first one, he made a bad decision. They made a great play on special teams, just like we've been making plays on special teams this year. We've turned a lot of people over on the kickoff and punt returns in other situations. But the second one blew my mind because as he catches it, everything is about feeling of a kick return. This might sound like me being a punk. He fumbled it a slight bit, bringing it in on the catch the second time.
Once you know that mentally,
and you fumbled before, boy, run for 10 yards and jump your butt on the damn ground. Go on the ground. You what play are you trying to make? Where are you going? Where are you going? Go on the ground because the football was more important and give your team a possession.
So off those 2 turnovers, they were able to score 10 points.
They scored a touchdown and a field goal. 26-13, you take away that, that's 26-23, but this game would have went a different way.
The Giants would have pulled off another comeback win. They would have
possibly been able to tackle on points, and because one of them both of them was during key times. So now think about that. They play without one of their pass rushers, the young kid, Kevin Aluja, who's going to be coming back off the bye week. They play without their tight end who got hurt and will hopefully be back as well too. They play without many guys that were missing on defense and offense, right? We still haven't shown that we've had an impact receiver. They didn't do anything big at the deadline. But hopefully we get all these guys healthy back and they can.
They've been without Sterling Shepard.
No, Shepard's been out for the year. He hasn't been an impact like that per se. They've been fine without him. Wandale Robinson has showed that he can make the plays. They have to get Galladay.
Yeah, and it's lately he showed what he could do when he had that touchdown down to begin the game or to tie the game. So yeah,
you need your tight ends back. You hopefully you get a Galladay back, whatever, healthy, get all the guys back, and you see if you win a week off and get guys healthy back because we needed that. We really. That's why I was going to try to sneak in the Seattle game because we really had too many injuries at that time. I was going in heels like the bye week. We needed it to come. So them seeing that first experience, if they can play Seattle later on in the year, even down there, and they're healthy, and they got all their guys back, and they had that experience and have a better plan, especially since Brian Daboll has been very good at orchestrating stuff for the team and being prepared for them to win. I like their chances in the second time around. If they play them, I just really, really do, especially since I know that as well as Geno Smith played, and as good as they were on offensively with Eric Metcalf and Lockett, who dropped the touchdown pass, but eventually got into the end zone with a touchdown pass anyway. And, you know what I mean? And the other young receiver who played very well for them. We still only lost 26-13 and turned it over twice on kickoff returns when we had opportunities to try to drive. So that means if we just take care of the things we need to take care of, we will definitely have a chance to beat Seattle. They're not the friggin' the 80 San Francisco 49ers. So that's a good experience for us. Hopefully they can come up off the break, beat a Texans team they should beat a very decent and very fighting admirable team as the Lions. And you take your chances on Thanksgiving Day. You see what happens against the Cowboys. That most likely would be a loss, but it'd be smarter to get the first 2 games before that so you don't have to worry about what goes on with that loss right there if you take it.
And at least if they win those 2 home games coming out of the bye week, they're guaranteed a 500 season. And sorry, Ryan, but 7-10 is not happening.
I'm fine with that.
You should be. I mean, this brings back the excitement that I've had with the New York Giants since the 2010s. We already talked about this so many times, but okay, Daniel Jones is the quarterback. He gets you like in the 200 in terms of yards percentage, but it's more than enough. Saquon Barkley on flashes. I'll give him that. And part of the reason why the Giants always come up with ways to win is that they play smart offense. They force the ball, they force turnovers, and they play defense when it mattered, whether it's by luck or just straight strategy.
A little bit of everything, don't you?
Yeah, so it's always the little things that help the New York Giants pull off wins after wins after wins. I mean, you're beating the teams you're supposed to beat, but you're beating the teams that nobody expected to beat. That's what makes the team. That's what makes the 6-2, 6-2.
100%.
And unfortunately, the New York Giants are off this week. But what we can get into is the teams that don't have enough. Well, unfortunately, the Giants and the Cowboys are off this week, so you don't have to hear me talk about the Cowboys at all in this episode. But what we can talk about is the teams that do play this week. Let's get into our predictions for the upcoming NFL Sunday and Monday Night Football. But to start it off, we got the Chargers going up against the Atlanta Falcons. Another team that pulled off a crazy win against the Carolina Panthers in overtime after they got lucky when after Carolina tied the game, they couldn't even hit an extra points. So you got the Falcons. What's your prediction for the Falcons and the Chargers?
Chargers home?
Well, they play the ATL.
I like the Chargers. But the Falcons been playing better though. Mariota's doing good down there. I like the Chargers and the spread.
Yeah, I'm going to take a gamble and pick the Atlanta Falcons. Yeah, they too high at home. All right, next one, Miami Dolphins, Chicago Bears. Dolphins pull off a crazy cover-line win against the Detroit Lions, but yeah, they're the Detroit Lions. They're supposed to win that game. Do you see the Dolphins have the same result in Chicago? It's going to be
the Dolphins will win that game. Even though Chicago picked up a good receiver to help them, Justin Fields. But I think the Dolphins go down there and win that football game.
Yeah. Panthers versus Bengals. I mean, it's a no-brainer. I'm picking the Cincinnati Bengals. Even though the Carolina Panthers, they show some fight. Ever since they got rid of Christian McCaffrey, they show some fight. They beat Tom Brady's Tampa Bay Buccaneers at home, but they give it their all against the Atlanta Falcons. So,
but the young quarterback is playing good.
Yeah, but at the end of the day, I'm gonna play it safe. Pick the Cincinnati Bengals.
Yes, Cincinnati.
Packers, Lions. I'm picking the Packers. Aaron Rodgers should at least get this one. Forget the fact that he's underwhelming.
Lions beat the Packers. They're gonna mess up that number. He ain't gonna own them this time. This Packers team ain't the same. And Detroit can score the football. I like Lions in the upset this week.
Patriots, Colts.
I like the Colts.
Mm,
Actually, no, let me think.
I may have to disagree with you and pick the New England Patriots. I don't know. I just had a gut feeling Matt Jones is going to go off.
Who's home?
Yeah.
Who's home?
Yep.
The Colts?
The Patriots are at home. They're the home team for this matchup.
I'm going upset. I'm going Colts.
Okay. The New York Jets versus the Buffalo Bills. Now, remember what I said when we had Jaquan on the show last week? If the New York Jets win this game against Buffalo, they're going to be knocking on the door for the AFC East. I'm telling you. Remember what I said last episode?
Yeah, you can knock on that door somewhere else. You better go to Buffalo Wild Wings. Y'all better get ahead with that. Y'all know better. No disrespect, Jets Nation. No disrespect.
They've improved this year. Listen, they've improved a bit. I know they had a loss to the Patriots, but they've improved.
Mm-hmm. We'll see. What's the Sunday?
They can't beat Buffalo. Don't think that.
What time is that game?
It's at 1 o'clock. It's at MetLife Stadium.
Oh, don't worry. I'll be at work. I'll take lunch break. I promise you, unless Josh Allen dies in the game, Buffalo is going to win in MetLife Stadium on Sunday. I promise you that. I promise you. And I promise you, as much as I do like the Jets, it's not going to be as close as they think it's going to be. And remember, Breece Hall, the running back for the Jets, is out for the season.
That's a fact. But that's the key cut. But they picked up James Robinson to replace him in a trade with the Jacksonville Jaguars.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, he good. Yeah, right. Yeah, they picked up James Robinson. Oh, are you serious?
Do you see the kid play? What is your impression based on the eye test of this kid, James Robinson? Since you want to get
good. He's good. He is not Breece Hall. Breece Hall brought a different dynamic to the Jets.
Yeah, he did.
Especially being a young running back. It was a breath of fresh air. Breece Hall was looking so good that he could run and he can catch out there. He brought a different dynamic to help them because the Jets are really talented on the outside with receivers. They have receivers they can throw the ball to. Barrios, they have the other young kid that can catch on the outside. There's targets there. Elijah's not really good, but there's targets on the team. Breece brought that different dynamic because now the defense had to focus in the backfield, but then the receivers would get the one-on-one coverage. So that's no disrespect to the guy to pick up. He's serviceable. He's just not Breece.
And Buffalo will attack and get around the football.
And definitely, I know they will create turnovers. So the Jets will have to be they will have to be super on offense on Sunday because eventually Buffalo is going to put on points. Buffalo might not score right away, but when they do start rolling, remember it's the 6-1 football team, excluding the Eagles being undefeated. Honestly, that's the best team in football. Eye test wise, to be fair, even with the Eagles record, Buffalo and Kansas City, to me, are still the two best teams in football. Then Philadelphia, just with my eyes.
So,
and I'm always going to take my chances with either Josh Allen or Patrick Mahomes.
No disrespect to
what's the kid on Philadelphia? Jalen Hurts. Excuse me, because Jalen Hurts is playing very well on the uphill. But I'm telling you guys, Buffalo is going to outclass the Jets on Sunday. They're better in every aspect. They're better offensively. Their quarterback is better. Their receiving core is better.
Especially with Stephon Diggs.
Right. They're going to show. They're going to make that game a little bit more of a statement because there is talks that the Jets can be knocking on that door. And of course, mathematically, they are in it. They're one game out of first place from the team that they have to play this Sunday. Buffalo is going to say, no, that's not happening. We're waiting to play teams like Kansas City to go to the Super Bowl. We're going to show you that you guys are here and we are here. And you still have a lot of ways to go to get to that.
Watch what I told you. Buffalo will win by at least 10 points.
Zach Wilson I'm going to be fair with you. Zach Wilson did have 4 interceptions last week against the Patriots, but yeah, second year at least 3 interceptions against the Patriots. Ouch.
And who's better, Buffalo or the Patriots?
Buffalo.
And is Buffalo better? Is Buffalo better of the Patriots by a little or by a lot?
By a lot. And to be
Have
fair,
a good evening.
the Jets can't
Have a good evening.
Well, to be fair, they blasted the Miami Dolphins, but they were down 2 of that game. But if you can't beat the New England Patriots, even with Matt Jones as the quarterback, no matter what quarterback, if you can't beat the Patriots, no matter what quarterback the Patriots would they use, then actually you can beat the Buffalo Bills. So
listen, that's why we got to be fair. And it's not like the Giants have had close games too. Listen, we have a Tennessee game that a kicker, if he makes a kick, we lose a game. And we've had other games. We played the Bears closer than what we should have played to them. And, we've had games that we get it. But let's really look at this. The Jets played the Browns week 2, right? They were down 10 points. They were down 10 points and came back and won.
I believe they were down like 14 that game, but
they're down 300.
If they came back and won, they had no business to win the game, right? So
they could have lost the Steelers. Huh? After getting blasted by the Cincinnati Bengals, they redeemed themselves and beat the Pittsburgh Steelers.
They beat the Pittsburgh Steelers. The Pittsburgh Steelers have been like a high school team this year. So we understand that. Okay.
Yeah. They blasted the Dolphins. They go to Lambeau. It's a tough environment to play for any team. They blast Aaron Rodgers. We already talked about him.
All right. So like you said, they beat the Dolphins. No Tua. Have a good night. You already know what that would have been like with Tua.
But the Jets beat the team, which is why I think which is why the confidence level for the beat Baltimore is somewhat higher than
who they beat that was a good team?
Green Bay, Cleveland. Okay, to be fair,
everybody know Green Bay not good this year.
Giants beat Green Bay.
But Aaron Johnson is one of the greatest quarterbacks in our generation. He may be underwhelmed this season, but he's one of the greatest quarterbacks in our generation.
And UPS is hiring Tom Brady, the greatest quarterback of all time. How good does he look this year? How good does Tampa Bay look?
Against the Carolina Panthers.
Oh my goodness! He said they beat the Green Bay Packers. Everybody beat the Green Bay Packers. Everybody beat the Green Bay. Canarsie played Green Bay last week. I'll give you the stats. But the kid from Canarsie threw for 600 yards. And are you kidding me? No, Green Bay. Everybody beat Green Bay.
Don't sleep on the New York Jets.
No.
I agree with you from Buffalo standpoint, but don't sleep on the Jets. If they
Green Bay.
If they come back and beat those teams, I wouldn't sleep on them. I wouldn't sleep on them.
Wait a minute. Did Green Bay just barely beat Washington, right?
Yeah, they did.
Right? They did. Come on, man.
I said they barely lost to Washington, actually.
Exactly. They struggle against the Commanders.
Oh, stop it. Green Bay's not that good. They're trying to figure themselves out.
Yeah, they struggled in another Aaron Rodgers versus Tom Brady matchup.
Minnesota is running away with the division. Running away.
And Minnesota and Washington are facing each other this Sunday coming up. We'll get to that prediction in a minute.
Gentlemen, if you threw Zach, I like you. This is what this guy might. I'm gonna go break this guy's balls because of you.
When I'm done with the show, that's a Jets fan tonight.
This is the guy that told me the Jets have a better future than the Giants. I said, would you absolutely stop right now?
But
things first.
I'm just saying.
Not you.
No, 100%. You didn't say it. I said to him, none of our futures are brighter than anybody. We have the same future. Stop it right now, okay? First things first, the Jets and the Giants have both been really bad the last 6 years. Both teams have been bad. There's been nothing to talk about in New York for football the last 6 years with the Jets and Giants. They both stunk. That's why the fact that they're decent now is such a big deal in New York, right? Because they're both competitive at the same time. I give them that. However, for you to tell me that your team has a better future than my team when we both stink over the last few years is absolutely asinine. You got Zach Wilson, who's a good, young, upsiding quarterback with a great future, right? And he's supposed to be good and showing flashes, but he's also shown flashes where he stinks. Terrible. Been terrible. And
that is
so
true. The 4 interceptions really showed it.
no touchdowns last week, 4 interceptions. But I've seen other weeks that he's been like, yo, you know what, that kid could be the kid. But based off last week, that's a big game. You need to beat the New England Patriots who have owned you over the last umpteen thousand years, right? That New York Yankees, Houston Astros kind of thing, right? They didn't prove that last week. They looked absolutely terrible. They were talking really heavy during the week that this is going to be the time. If any time we're going to do it, and New England was vulnerable. New England was vulnerable. They haven't been playing stellar football. They've gone through many quarterbacks. One time it was Zach. Mac was there first. Mac got hurt. Then Zappy was there. Then Zappy has a game. Oh, Zappy's good. Then Zappy does bad. Oh, Zappy stinks. Then Zappy's good. Oh, Zappy's out. Oh, then bring Mac Jones back. Stop. You can't beat New England in your home as a rivalry team, and you're going to beat the Buffalo Bills on Sunday? Are you kidding me? The Bills are better in every asset.
All I said was all we had to do is beat Buffalo. I didn't say we can beat them. I said all we have to do. You heard what I said.
Yeah, and all the Phillies have to do is win Game 6 in Houston. Real easy.
Hey, you got it. All right, but we pretty much made our picks. I mean, I'm gonna share your brain and pick the Buffalo Bills. As much as I want the Jets to win, I'm gonna play it safe and pick the Buffalo Bills because you just educate people.
No, I swear to you, text me after the game. The only way they win is if the Bills. If something happens to Josh Allen, I can't see any other way. Looking at the team. How I can, or unless this is any given Sunday and Buffalo plays their worst game of the season and they catch them on any given Sunday and the Jets came out flying high. But there's just no way with my eyes that I'm saying, man, how could they look so bad last week against New England and beat this team that is clicking on all cylinders and their biggest goal is February. The Bills' biggest goal is the Kansas City Chiefs. That's all they see.
Don't be mad when I contact you and be like, don't be mad when somebody contact you and you be like, I told you so. When I test fan tell you I told you so.
We're gonna bet a case of Mountain Dew like Shannon.
I got Buffalo winning.
Undisputed.
I got Buffalo winning, but don't sleep on the Jets. That's all I'm saying.
I'll take my lunch break at 1:00 so I can watch.
All right, on to the next game. Vikings, Commanders. I'm picking Minnesota Vikings. They're just too stubborn. I mean, I know Washington proved to be good. They have the least record. They have the least best record in the NFC East. And Washington Commanders shown to be a good team. They did beat the Indianapolis Colts in Lucas Oil Stadium, which I already said was a tough place to play. But this is the Minnesota Vikings. This is Kirk Cousins, a former Washington Commander in his own right. I can't know why I said Mystic. What's wrong with me? But anyways, yeah, I'm picking the Vikings to win.
I'm picking the Vikings as well too. Vikings are so loaded offensively with Justin Jefferson, Adam Thielen, Cook at the running back. They have the other receiver that's really good. Remember this too, and take a look at it with the stats wise. That tight end they just picked up on a trade deadline from Detroit, a young kid. Watch out. And Minnesota was struggling. They were 29th statistically in yards from the tight end. They just picked up another special kid. With this core, they'll be phenomenal. Here goes the scary thing. And remember I said this to you. As much as I know that Kirk Cousins is solid, he's got that Derek Carr syndrome where they just don't win a bigger, more important games when it counts. If Kirk Cousins is not the quarterback of Minnesota, if you put another top quarterback there, the Minnesota Vikings are the best team in the NFC. But the fact that Kirk Cousins is there is the scary part on why it's scary to pick Minnesota over Philadelphia. But if Kirk Cousins ever has an astronomical game out of the world against when they play Philadelphia, they'll give Philadelphia everything they can handle. Because offensively, they're loaded. Now, So I'm definitely picking Minnesota this week. They will absolutely steamroll the Commanders, in my opinion. But even though the Commanders have been playing more better football in the last 3 weeks, believe it or not, you know what I mean? So I'm picking Minnesota there, but their destiny in this world will go as far as Kirk Cousins can take them in general, because offensively they're loaded and defensively they are nasty.
We never give Kirk Cousins enough credit for his offensive effort and line contributions to the teams he played for. But this is one of those times where we do. So
it's up to him. It's up to him with their destiny.
Yeah, they only go as far as they take them. And obviously, I'm picking Minnesota to win. Obviously, next matchup, Las Vegas Raiders, Jacksonville Jaguars. I'm gonna pick the Jaguars to win this one. It's probably gonna be a low scoring fair because both teams, they're not that good at scoring. Let's be honest.
Yeah, I'm picking the Jaguars. You know, I have no belief in the Las Vegas Raiders. They always find a way to lose. I don't care how much Devontae Adams is playing better. Stop pushing media officials and Derek Carr. You know, it's Jacksonville. Jacksonville breaks the losing streak.
Yeah, I don't see. Yeah. All right. On to another matchup: the Seattle Seahawks and the Arizona Cardinals. We talked about it. We talked about how good the Seattle Seahawks are. If you think Seattle's a tough place to play, Arizona, which is the host of this year's Super Bowl, by the way, is another beast. Kyle Murray is about to go off for Geno Smith. I'm picking Arizona to win this one.
As much as I like Kyle, I'm gonna pick the Seahawks. I like the Seahawks for a good road victory. I think they'll get some.
You pick Geno Smith over Kyle? You pick Geno Smith over Kyle Murray? Really?
Yeah, I'm just picking the Seahawks. I trust me. I really do not want to pick Geno Smith over Kyle Murray. Trust me, if I can say so. Yeah, I'll pick the Seahawks in a close game on the road. Yes, Geno Smith. You'll win this football.
Yeah, okay. Los Angeles Rams, Tampa Bay Buccaneers. Rematch of the divisional round where Tom Brady got taken out. What we thought was going to be his last ever playoff game, but it came back. Well, the Tampa Bay Buccaneers have been underwhelming this year, so I'm picking the Los Angeles Rams on this one.
I was going to say, I have no idea who to pick in this game. Tampa Bay has not played good football. They're still recovering with guys back from injury. I don't like what I've seen all year. Except for Cooper Kupp, I don't like what I've seen all year from the Rams. Test-wise, even defensively as well. Who has the home game?
Tampa Bay.
I pick Tampa Bay by default. I don't like what I see from Tampa, so and I'm only picking Tampa because they're home. There's nothing else that's making me pick Tampa Bay. Yeah. I don't like what I see from the Rams neither. But Tampa just because of home. That's the only thing that I got.
Yeah. Next matchup, the Kansas City Chiefs and the Tennessee Titans at Arrowhead Stadium. I'm picking the Kansas City Chiefs without question.
Have a good night. Have a good night.
Yeah, that's all I got to say. Now to the Monday Night Football matchup to wrap up the predictions. Baltimore Ravens, New Orleans Saints. I'm going to pick Baltimore just to play it safe.
I like New Orleans. They're in New Orleans?
Yeah, in New Orleans.
Yeah, New Orleans actually has been playing better, but I like Baltimore. Baltimore, I like that down there. I think
against Las Vegas Raiders. Yeah, it's the Raiders. They suck.
You know why I want Baltimore to do well this game too?
The series being 4 touchdown performance in his sleep.
Yeah, it would be nice if Lamar could put on a show on Monday Night Football so he can make sure you get that money next year. I mean, that's the only thing I would say. I like Baltimore in this one. I think Lamar might put on a show.
Yeah. And well, that'll wrap up this episode of Nothing But That Sports Talk. Thank you for stopping by, Ryan Walker, as always. And I can't wait to see all the games that you cover this weekend and later in the season.
Yeah, I got one coming up on Saturday with shout to the Patience. My man Coach Trey, man, he's got me I'm announcing, and I could have been actually Sunday's game too. They're playing in Nazareth High School for Sunday. So if you're out in Brooklyn, you can go take a look at that one. I'll send you the schedule for it. He does a good thing where the shout to the Patience, he takes, like high school and like seniors that just graduated, or, be prep or go to a collegiate school, whether it be JUCO or D3, D2, or one of those realms. And he's got a lot of kids he sent to colleges. And he has that post-grad program where you can go and work on your game and play good live competition, also post-grads, to put yourself in a position to get to another university and so on and so forth. So he's got a good thing going with that. I've developed a good synergy with them over the years. And he gave me the call to announce for their game on Saturday, which I was like, absolutely, definitely love to come out. And Sunday, I wasn't working. Sunday, I'll literally be going to my first job. Then here, work overtime, holidays, trying to get all this little money. Because otherwise, I would have been announced his game also at Nazareth. They'll be there. So I have that coming up this weekend. And, I also announced the New York Court Kings. Their next home game will be on the 19th. Which will also be the same weekend that I'm going to the Giants game. That weekend will be crazy for me. So I got their home game coming up, which I'm happy for their opportunity. They have 6 or 7 home games, and I'll be doing announcing for all that. So God bless them. They gave me a great opportunity, a platform there. And I've already seen today on the post that we're already in the process of getting the footwork ready for crunch time for a winter league. So that's in process. But I already told guys, I said, I know that that's probably not going to be till December, maybe beginning of January. Might be end of December, January. But crunch time, fall league for the pros is coming. So got a lot of things to be announcing, Rob, coming up. And interviews as well, too, because I'll be with I Love B-Ball. And to
I see some of you I Love B-Ball, man. You killing it.
Appreciate it, man. Just, I got working. I felt like, it wasn't bad. I was supposed to be at the Alzheimer's event. They had Alzheimer's, excuse me. That was on Sunday. It was in St. Dominic's where they had the top Nassau girls and Suffolk girls and Nassau and Suffolk boys too upcoming. And one of the kids, Malachi, played at ISA, and it was nice to see him on MVP. But I was supposed to be there to do interviews as well too, but I had to work. And then getting to St. Dominic's is an interesting journey from where I'm at anyway, too. I'm not driving like that now, so there's going to be that. It's just going to be too much. Uber-wise, this and that, So, but I'll be, in the future, as now things start clicking on, I'll be doing more things where we player interviews associated with I Love B-Ball in connection with Crunch Time. And you'll be seeing me do that aspect, too, where it's just not just announcing a basketball game or player commenting for a basketball game, or just the interviews and that, on top of what we're doing here as well, too. So I'm hitting all facets where I'm like an in-game basketball announcer. We do this so analytically, sports-wise. And then I'll also be doing interviews, too, which is like, many different roles. So I appreciate you. I'm just, been trying to do the best to showcase, the coaches and the talent. I love B-Ball. So, like I said, I got so much coming up with that and what we're still doing. And it's just, blessing to get a lot of these good opportunities. And boy, it's going to be a lot of work, but I'm going to figure it out. We're going to get it all together. So that's coming up, and that's good. And
exactly. And on that note, get your head in the game.
Yes, sir.